right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Sabrae Show Live, where we control our own narratives and have the conversations that we need to have in order to empower our community. I'm your host, Sabrae.
What's up, it's Yatta.
Whoa, Yatta, that was way too low.
What's up, it's Yatta. Or whatever in this joint and stuff and whatnot.
She delayed my little signature joint, you know what I'm saying? God,
I care about your little
salute.
You can't steal it, though.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's
No.
just me.
I want to start the show off with a
Copyright.
question. It's not copywritten, actually. The military owns that.
You sure they own it?
I don't know.
Well,
I know, you just
definitely
wanna-
get started. That's all
Look.
I'm going to say, you know.
No, but I want to start off with a question. Like, what area of activity, of human activity, especially, let's just say America, that race doesn't affect? And let me area activity, love, religion, education, what are others?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of them.
I was going to say a simple answer. Race affects everything.
Okay, let me think. Hold on, let me try to think. Related politics.
Yes.
Yes.
Economics.
Yes.
Heavens, yes.
Okay, so why in the fuck do people always talk about, oh, you're making this about race?
Oh,
Everything's
man,
about
right.
race.
Shout out to the
they're-
people
Why
who
are
were
you
in my IG comments
Okay.
with that band. You're making everything about race. I'm like, first of all, you saw a snippet. I'm
What
like,
color are
did
they?
you watch? I don't know, because their Abbeys aren't
They
real.
normally be
Someone
black,
created
though.
a
For real?
A lot of black people do
Someone
that.
created a
Say that.
page just to follow me and make a
Yes.
comment on the video, and I'm just like, okay, well, did you watch the entire episode so that you
not.
could get the context? Because you know, them people are famous for being out of context, and I'm like, it was a snippet about us saying that that's why, you know, racist white people tend to attack black people or melanated people. It's because they are inferior and they want to feel superior.
Right. It
And
has context.
I said what I said. And if you have an issue with that, that's between you, your therapist, and Jesus. But don't make it seem like I'm making everything about race. It's
Everything
a
was
racially
made
driven,
about race way before we got here.
It's a racially driven conversation, though. When you wonder why someone who is racist towards a certain group, yeah, it's about race because we're talking about race, dum-dum.
I just think that I thought it was me, maybe. Well, I didn't. I'm just saying, like, for the sake of conversation,
It wasn't.
I just don't understand why people don't understand that race affects everything, and especially if you have a so-called dominant race affecting other, you know, race that's not like them, trying to dominate over them, trying to subject them into, you know, submission in society. If that's going on, which it is globally, really, but we're just talking about America, then it is important to be informed about it, to be up on it, to be hip to it. Like, we have to be
Absolutely.
informed of what's going on. And unfortunately, race, even though you got those people out there, oh, it's not white or black, it's the human race. Fuck all that. In a perfect world,
good,
sure,
but no.
but that's not the world that we live in, and that's
Right.
not being realistic.
You know the bully don't know that they bullying. That's why.
But that's
Or
the
they
thing.
won't acknowledge it.
It's not the bullies that's saying this. It's the people who are victims of it that just don't want to own it.
It's the freaking oblivious. Like, are you that underneath
They
a
just-
rock that you don't realize what's really good? Like, come on, man.
It could be their upbringing, their environment, their family. It can even be like their social status.
What it is
You know,
a
a lot of
situation of ignorance being bliss. And as long as people say, well, I didn't know that, then you can always have that defense mechanism that it's like, oh, yeah, you can just feign ignorance all the time as long as you don't allow yourself to be informed. That's your safety net right there. So when you see something like this, somebody's just blatantly giving you the tea, like, this is what it is. This is why
Exactly.
they do what they do, because A, B, and C. They don't want to hear that because now you have to face reality.
And that's how you learn from it and you go forward. And to your point, there were slaves who didn't have a problem with their slave owners. They just thought that it was business as usual. They were born into slavery, and that's all they knew. So they're like, oh, well, nothing's wrong going on. This is just how it is. And so there are people like that in transition to today. Yeah.
I don't think they didn't think that it was wrong. I thought they were scared for their lives, and they just wanted to. You have some people. It's just like today. You have some people who protest and fight for the rights, and you got some people just sit back and just say, "Oh man, why they protesting? That's not going to change nothing."
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like an evolution of the scared Negro.
And
It's
then
like, I'm pretty sure it's probably higher probability of it changing something than you sitting on your ass and doing
Yeah.
nothing. So
yeah, but then you have some that's not even thinking like that just live in this like unicorn
Box.
fairy tale
In a snow globe.
universe in their mind, because I've worked with people that even felt like, oh, nobody have no control, ain't nobody supreme over me. Like, you know, like, dog, like, you're not trying to own what's really good. Right. So that you don't have to do anything about it. You're trying to brainwash yourself into thinking that...
You don't want to act. And if you don't want to act, just own that and admit that. Look, I don't really feel like putting any effort in this. That's a whole lot better than you debating me about what reality is because you don't want to accept it, because acceptance means that now you have to be accountable for what happens to you and combat it or do something. Now you're responsible and you don't want to be responsible, and that's fine. And maybe that's not your lot in life. Right. But don't shut down the next person for recognizing reality for what it is and wanting to act on it or do something about it. Like,
I think a lot of people, if they feel like the issue or the topic or the injustice doesn't personally affect them, they feel like it's not reality. Right? That doesn't bother me. I don't see it every day, so I'll let those people deal with those issues.
I'm like, well, guess what? If you live in Minnesota and I live in D.C. and I get shot tomorrow, God forbid, and you don't see it, guess what? It still happened. Right. So just your own little bubble, your own little realm is a small slice of what is the whole reality of the country. So just because you're not experiencing it in your little sliver doesn't mean the other 99% of the pie isn't going through it. So it's like, let's just not do that. It's being counterproductive. I'd rather you shut up and say nothing than to be counterproductive to the movement. Like, just stop. Just be quiet.
Go ahead, Sean.
A lot of black people who were born into like wealth, their struggles aren't the same as, you know, just because they're black, their struggles are not the same. So they definitely want to separate themselves from.
But they still experience white supremacy.
Oh no, yeah, but they really don't think like. Remember, like Lil Wayne had that, was it his interview?
They and he was like that they do because they feel like, oh, I make enough money to be accepted, and it's like, yeah, to a certain degree,
but
yes,
you're choosing not to open your eyes because look at you.
What did Jay-Z say? Still nigga. And that's just what it is.
And look at Dr. Dre. People like Dr. Dre, right? He making way more money than Lil Wayne. And remember that incident last year or 2 years ago where a guy cut him off. He cut a guy off, or a guy cut him off on the road. They follow him to his house, and then basically,
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, basically the dude was parked in front of his house or something, and he was like, "Hey, you know, get up off of my shit." And he called the police. A white dude called the police on him, and Dr. Dre is handcuffed in front of his own house because he believed that the white person over him, and he's rich.
Right, this is my property, dog. Like, that just goes to show, like.
But no, we know the reality.
Yeah,
I'm saying
they choose not, and they choose not, because no matter how rich you are, white supremacy, you can still see it. Jay-Z can still see it. Other people that are prominent,
he can smell it. He got a big ass nose,
petty down,
and that dumb ass big ass hat he wore.
You don't realize? Did you see him in Trump's little situation?
Yes,
hilarious.
But to end that one, I just feel like, if you don't see it, you're choosing not to see it, and that's on you. Don't even open your mouth to even shit on the people who are actually fighting.
You're being willfully ignorant. Cause. That's what it is. Just
right. If you don't want to be fought for, then go ahead and lay down and just get your shit.
Y'all ever seen Meteor Man?
Oh my God! Yes.
Remember when he said, "How can you complain when you do nothing?"
It's reality.
It's for real though. I mean, like
this is like a concept that I'm constantly telling people. Like, I'm always telling people, like, look, I don't deal in problems, I deal in solutions. Yes. So if I don't have a solution or any sort of remedy that I can offer to the problem, I'd rather just shut my ass up than sit here and gripe about a bunch of things that I'm not doing anything to change. So who am I to say something? You know, like, if you're not going to help, just hush. Yes. Anything other than helping is hurting the situation, other than being quiet. Just be quiet. Like, it costs you nothing to pay us no mind. If it's not your cup of tea, don't get me wrong, because we want all the viewers in the world. But if it's not your cup of tea, it's nothing for you to scroll right past the video and keep it pushing, but for you to come and be counterproductive because you don't want to accept it. Yeah. Not on my watch.
Yeah, fuck out of here.
Yana, not on my watch.
But you were speaking of Jay-Z and Trump.
Oh, yeah. So Trump basically feels some type of way because Jay-Z referred to him as a superbug that we can't get rid of. And it's funny because a lot of people, a lot of like white journalists and things have brought to light, like Eminem said far worse things about you. You didn't address that, but you want to address the black dude.
A lot of people didn't catch that.
All the Trump train riders.
Because it's on the BET Awards.
All the Trump train riders were like, Jay-Z's a drug dealer. He was a drug dealer, and he says bitch and hoe and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, hey, but you go your bio. Your bio is like, yeah, conservative white female Trump supporter. And I'm like, Trump is out here. You want to talk about somebody saying bitch and hoe? Trump is out here grabbing pussies, but you're worried about what somebody is saying. And
paying off porn
have
stars.
You heard him say bitch since Blue's been born? Because I don't feel like he's been saying it.
Well, even
he been wearing them damn dumbass hats. Continues to break.
Wow, that's not even like
the hats.
necessary.
I feel like the hats are fly. They just don't look right on him because Future be killing them hats.
No,
Future definitely has the brunch hat. He had the brunch hat and the brunch boot combo.
But you just said it. The person makes the clothes.
Yes.
So since he didn't make that item,
it might not be his.
But
look.
he'll be having haircuts, so he probably like
It's not really his.
He need a Scully. He need a one. You need to get him out of this, bro. He look like Beyonce's dad. I mean, look, I know, Jay-Z, if you're watching the show, I know you have way more money than me.
And I know you watch the show.
Right.
And I know you're not ugly because you're a billionaire.
We owning it, but I mean, yeah, it's just funny that you would shoot. First of all, it's funny that our, for lack of a better term, president. Has nothing better to do than get on Twitter and accost a fucking, rapper and then bring your little mayonnaise brigade with you to attack him.
You're going to put our show off the Sabrae live show, fake news.
Right.
Take them off.
Like, shut up. Like, it's just like, you're so oblivious, but I'm like, but you didn't call out the white rapper who's been crucifying you since day one.
I have noticed that. And that, I had a lot of people didn't catch that. Because Eminem was looking for a response to promote his album, a lot of people would say. So a lot of analysts and people who have said that because it was with the buildup of the promo, whatever. But anyway, he was looking for a response, and he even said in the interview that he was mad that Trump didn't respond. Anyway, Jay-Z said that about Trump, and you have to look at it's a Van Jones interview. It was pretty good. You can go check it out.
I like Van Jones.
Yeah, he's cool. And so.
Very good interview.
It was. And so he didn't even insult him. He was just saying, like, once the problem, it just individuals, like we said last week, that individuals only get attacked, but the whole system is still in place. It just, you get immune to it and whatever. That's what the superbug came from. But he responded to Jay-Z, and that showed me how on code a lot of white supremacists are. And one thing, I had a similar situation happen at my job this week. A lady came in, a white lady with her daughter. They both of age, right? Mm-hmm. And so the daughter's of age. She's not young. So anyway, they were talking to my other coworkers who are all black. And they were talking about Monique and this whole situation, in the shop, we talk about hot topics and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so and I'm over here minding my business, cutting my hair, whatever. I'm not a part of that conversation, but they're talking about. No. When somebody say,
whenever somebody say, I was over there minding my business, I could tell.
I'm basically saying I wasn't a part of the conversation initially.
That you made yourself a part of.
I did, and I'll explain. Okay. So they were talking about Monique and my coworker, how dare she ask for whatever, that whole situation, and we're gonna talk about how she scammed us anyway. But so they would just say, how dare she call out these people? How dare she do this and that? And the white people were jumping in, talking like, oh, Monique is this and that and da 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 da. And so I made it my point because that was so off code. No black people should ever talk that bad about other black people to white people. That's just not what you do, because just like Trump, he didn't go back and forth with Eminem in public. He may do that with other political people, but for the most part, they keep their shit like they may make a phone call, whatever.
He
but
swear right past that.
They're not doing that. They stay on code. You know what I'm saying? Because if he would have gotten in a racial situation, see, now if he called Trump a liar or something like that, maybe, but he called him a racist. They're not gonna do that fighting in public like that. And that's on code. So I was like, I interjected after they stopped talking, and I was like, hey, did y'all hear about that situation with that pedophile that was in the gymnastic, that Simone Biles?
Larry Nassar.
What's his name?
Larry Nassar.
Yeah. Yes, who got like 100 and something years or whatever.
He needed 300.
And then, because he molested and all that stuff with all these little girls. And I quickly interjected that situation because that's a hot topic right now. But and then I talked to my coworkers, they were like, that's off code. Like, we don't do, like, as a people, we don't do that. And that was a prime example of a lot of white people are on code. They're not going to throw each other under the bus necessarily in public, because they have infighting too, but we'll be quick to tweet and put each other under the bus, but we can't do that.
I agree, but not in Trump's defense, because he be talking bad about everyone. White people, black people, everybody that he fired, they all white.
But he's just ignorant as shit though. But I feel like I get exactly what you mean, that it doesn't it doesn't come off right. Like,
right.
You know.
Not to say that he never trashed any white people, because I'm sure he trashes. Has. But that he specifically targeted Trump's, ability to not be racist. He attacked his whole character as far as
Jay-Z called you a superbug, and you were just.
Exactly.
You were steaming mad. Eminem crucified you. Everything you've done, everything you stand for, everything you represent. And you like, oh, true. But Jay-Z, though, hey, I'll have you know, my policies no, they haven't.
Look what he was doing to Hillary, though.
But that's because
she a woman.
A woman though.
Oh, I can name 10 white men he's been going at.
Yeah, but he called her. It's the way you go about it. What did he call her? A nasty woman and stuff like that. And he was going against her in the presidential debates and stuff like that. He called her a nasty woman.
See, the ones he's firing are the ones that are exposing the shit that he's doing. And it's like, you're out of here. You're out of here.
Oh, you can put me in jail. You got to go.
Right.
Yeah.
You know about Russia? Oh, yeah, you're out. Like, versus it's just that was just a very cut and dry situation because you have two people that come from the same genre, you know what I'm saying? You got two people from the hip hop community, one white and one black. Both of them great in their own right, and both of them came at you however they chose to come at you. But you chose to take this avenue, even though the white one said something far worse.
Well, maybe he thought Eminem was irrelevant. All black people think Eminem music ain't relevant, and Jay-Z is. Maybe he felt that.
Okay, but we're not in the business of is giving Donald Trump the benefit of the
doubt
under any circumstance.
It's like Jay said.
No.
And all you other cats throwing shots at Jigga, y'all only get half a bar. Fuck y'all niggas. Maybe Jay-Z said, I have to address Jay-Z because this is going to give me more publicity if I address Eminem.
I don't feel like that was the driving force behind that, but I mean, sounds good.
Because I feel like Eminem is still a little bit bigger than Jay-Z in the regard that he has the white audience.
Easily. They outnumber us like fucking 29-1.
Right. Look at Middle America. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
his album sales, he's still like, I'm a big Eminem fan, but I'm like, how is he selling all of these albums?
To the inbred families that's related to that
numbers
from
still
the
go crazy.
Trailer park community going wild over Eminem. And like,
they still use Napster.
They still have ringtones and stuff.
LimeWire.
I hate when you ever call somebody grown and got a ringback tone. That blows me.
People still,
I'm sick of people with musical ringtones. Like I was in a nail shop the other day, and this old lady's phone rang, and it was like because I'm happy. And I was like,
I can see older people, but somebody my age like,
whose nan is this? Get this shit out of here.
I've been on it for 3 years.
I'm over there trying to get my feet so going and stuff, and I don't want to hear this. And then you know what they do though? They gotta let it play out. And answer the last minute.
Because they want to hear the whole song.
Right? I don't want to hear that shit, man. Like
I used to have ringtones for each different girl I was talking to, so I know who to pick up to. You know what I'm saying?
Anyway,
fast ass.
Anyway.